Hello, and welcome to your AI News Roundup for June 11th, 2026. Today we are diving into major developments in AI policy and corporate strategy. We look at how geopolitical tensions are influencing ChatGPT usage and the new data retention policies for major AI labs. Stay with us for the full breakdown. News number 1. OpenAI disclosed information regarding an alleged Chinese network utilizing ChatGPT to influence U.S. debate on Trump tariffs and AI policy. OpenAI has released details concerning an alleged Chinese network that reportedly leveraged ChatGPT to influence U.S. public debate on trade tariffs and broader AI policy. The disclosure centers on intelligence regarding the network's operational methods and the specific application of the large language model in shaping public discourse. While the article does not provide specific dates or dollar amounts, the report details the mechanism by which the network allegedly employed the model for information synthesis and persuasive content generation aimed at specific policy outcomes. This moves the discussion beyond general AI application into the geopolitical implications of foundation model deployment. The context suggests a competitive move by OpenAI in addressing foreign influence and the ethical deployment of large language models. This revelation places the company at the center of discussions regarding cross-border AI governance and the risks associated with deploying generative AI in sensitive political arenas. The details released provide insight into the potential vulnerabilities inherent in large-scale inference operations conducted across international lines. News number 2. Microsoft has challenged Anthropic's data retention policy for the Claude Fable 5 model. Microsoft has formally balked at Anthropic's proposed data retention policy for the Claude Fable 5 foundation model. The dispute centers on the scope and duration of data retention protocols for the model's training and inference data. Anthropic's policy aims to establish stricter controls over proprietary data handling within their Claude ecosystem. Microsoft's objection stems from concerns regarding compliance and potential exposure of internal data structures related to the fine-tuning process. The disagreement highlights the growing tension between proprietary data security standards and the operational requirements of large-scale model deployment. This move positions Microsoft directly against Anthropic in defining the governance standards for next-generation AI data management. News number 3. Anthropic has unveiled its new policy framework governing the deployment of its foundation models. Anthropic today released the AI Exponential policy, outlining strict guardrails for the development and scaling of its large language models. The policy mandates a new safety protocol focusing on constitutional AI principles, requiring all model fine-tuning processes to undergo external adversarial testing before public release. This framework, effective immediately, is designed to mitigate emergent risks associated with exponential model growth. The policy specifies that any model exceeding 100 billion parameters must adhere to a tiered risk assessment system, demanding a minimum 99.9% accuracy rate on specific ethical benchmarks before moving to the inference stage. This move positions Anthropic to directly address regulatory concerns regarding systemic risk in the rapidly evolving AI landscape. The policy is a direct response to competitive moves by other major labs, establishing a new benchmark for responsible AI development in the sector. News number 4. The AI sector is seeing a dynamic shift in stock performance, with AMD and Nvidia vying for market dominance in the hardware space. The recent market activity highlights the intense competition between AMD and Nvidia within the foundational AI infrastructure segment. Analysts are tracking the differing performance trajectories of the two semiconductor giants as the demand for specialized accelerators continues to escalate. While Nvidia maintains its lead in high-end GPU deployment for large foundation models, AMD is positioning itself aggressively by leveraging its MI series processors to capture market share in data center inference and training workloads. This competitive dynamic is driven by the evolving demands for specialized compute power required for large-scale model development and efficient deployment. The outcome of this market battle will depend on which company can most effectively scale its offerings and manage supply chain constraints in the rapidly expanding AI ecosystem. News number 5. Agilent has formed a strategic partnership with OpenAI and BCG to integrate artificial intelligence into clinical lab workflows. Agilent, a leader in clinical lab products, has entered a strategic alliance with OpenAI and Boston Consulting Group to advance the application of AI within clinical laboratory workflows. This collaboration focuses on leveraging foundation models to optimize operational efficiency and data analysis within clinical lab products. The partnership aims to deploy advanced AI solutions directly into laboratory operations, addressing complex data processing and workflow management challenges. The initiative targets the integration of large language models and machine learning techniques to enhance diagnostic support and operational efficiency across clinical lab environments. By collaborating with OpenAI, Agilent is exploring how cutting-edge generative AI can improve data interpretation and streamline complex testing procedures. BCG is contributing strategic advisory to ensure the deployment of these AI solutions aligns with market demands and operational realities. This move positions Agilent to redefine how clinical lab products manage complex data and improve workflow efficiency through applied AI. News number 6. Google's Gemini AI technology was integrated into the World Cup broadcast, demonstrating its application in live event delivery. Google utilized the Gemini Foundation model to enhance real-time data processing and content generation for the World Cup event. The implementation involved deploying Gemini across various platforms to manage live statistics and audience interaction. While specific parameter counts and latency metrics were not detailed, the integration focused on optimizing the inference pipeline for rapid data synthesis. This move positions Gemini as a key player in real-time media processing for major global events. The deployment occurred during the tournament, showcasing the model's capability in handling high-volume, dynamic data streams. This integration signals a competitive move by Google to leverage its multimodal AI capabilities in high-stakes, real-time environments. News number 7. Google DeepMind has made a strategic investment in 15 European startups focused on advancing physical AI applications. Google DeepMind has initiated a strategic investment targeting 15 European startups aiming to reshape the landscape of physical AI. This move signals a shift toward integrating AI models with physical world systems, moving beyond pure simulation. The funding allocation targets companies specializing in robotics and sensor fusion, with initial seed capital distributed across the cohort. The initiative focuses on developing tangible AI solutions, specifically leveraging advanced fine-tuning techniques to enhance real-world operational efficiency. This effort aims to bridge the gap between large foundation models and physical execution systems. This investment places the startups in direct competition with established players in the industrial automation sector. Prior announcements from DeepMind suggest a focus on deploying these models for complex physical inference, pushing the boundary of embodied AI development across the continent. News number 8. Data center infrastructure startup TensorWave secured $350 million in funding aimed at challenging Nvidia's dominance in AI chip manufacturing. Data center infrastructure startup TensorWave has successfully raised $350 million to scale its operations and compete in the high-demand AI hardware market. The capital infusion is specifically targeted at developing advanced infrastructure solutions designed to mitigate reliance on Nvidia's specialized AI chips. This move reflects the escalating demand for alternative hardware solutions outside of the current supply chain bottleneck. TensorWave's focus is on building the foundational capacity necessary for large-scale AI inference operations. The funding will be deployed into expanding data center capacity and developing proprietary chip architectures to offer competitive alternatives. This competitive shift is occurring as major hyperscalers seek to diversify their hardware sourcing and reduce vendor lock-in. TensorWave is positioning itself to become a key player in the broader AI infrastructure landscape. News number 9. Nvidia and Microsoft have expanded their partnership to focus on deploying agentic AI solutions. Nvidia and Microsoft have formalized an expanded strategic partnership aimed at deploying agentic AI across enterprise environments. This collaboration focuses on leveraging Nvidia's foundational model infrastructure to enhance Microsoft's enterprise agent capabilities. The expanded scope targets complex workflow automation, utilizing Nvidia's latest architecture for high-throughput inference and real-time decision-making. The partnership centers on integrating Nvidia's GPU architecture directly into Microsoft's Copilot framework, facilitating the deployment of sophisticated autonomous agents. This move aims to streamline complex operations by allowing agents to execute multi-step tasks autonomously within proprietary enterprise systems. The deployment strategy involves optimizing model latency and reducing inference costs for large-scale agentic operations. This effort positions the alliance at the forefront of practical agentic AI implementation, moving beyond theoretical model development into tangible enterprise deployment. News number 10. Microsoft is introducing a mechanism to control user access to Copilot AI integration within Bing Search. Microsoft has implemented a mechanism to address user demand regarding Copilot AI integration within Bing Search, offering a kill switch functionality. This strategic move is designed to manage the rollout and user experience of the Copilot feature across the search ecosystem. The implementation, detailed by Windows Central, signals a shift in how Microsoft manages the deployment of generative AI features to its broad user base. This approach allows the company to modulate the accessibility of the AI features based on user feedback and operational capacity. The move addresses the growing friction points related to AI adoption and provides an operational lever for managing feature exposure. This development highlights Microsoft's focus on balancing feature deployment with user acceptance in the competitive search market. News number 11. Apple is scaling its AI strategy amidst intensifying competition from rivals. Apple is aggressively expanding its AI framework, leveraging its ecosystem to gain scale as competitors accelerate their foundation model releases. This strategic pivot comes as the competitive landscape intensifies, with major players focusing on achieving superior performance in reasoning and multimodal tasks. While specific benchmark scores are still emerging, Apple is focusing on optimizing on-device inference and proprietary model fine-tuning techniques across its hardware. This move directly addresses the competitive race, positioning Apple to integrate advanced AI capabilities deeper into consumer hardware. The focus is on scaling the utility of its existing models rather than solely focusing on raw model size, aiming to establish a distinct competitive advantage in the consumer AI market. This strategy places Apple in direct contention with rivals pushing for broader deployment of sophisticated AI systems. News number 12. The Senate Banking Committee convened a hearing addressing the regulatory implications of artificial intelligence. The Senate Banking Committee held a public hearing focused on the intersection of artificial intelligence and financial regulation. The session addressed the evolving challenges posed by AI deployment within the banking sector, focusing on risk management, consumer protection, and systemic stability. The hearing provided a platform for banking executives and regulatory bodies to discuss the immediate operational and compliance hurdles associated with integrating large foundation models into financial services infrastructure. This focus signals heightened scrutiny over how institutions manage the risks associated with algorithmic decision-making and data governance in high-stakes environments. This move follows increasing calls from financial regulators to establish clear frameworks for AI deployment in the enterprise space. News number 13. Bruegel has released an analysis detailing the necessary adjustments to the European Union's artificial intelligence regulation framework. The think tank report outlines the structural conflicts within the current EU AI framework, focusing on the tension between establishing robust safety standards and maintaining competitive innovation. The analysis, published in October, identifies specific friction points where the current regulatory scope risks stifling the deployment of foundation models across the bloc. Bruegel proposes a tiered compliance model, suggesting that high-risk applications involving sensitive data, such as those in finance and healthcare, require mandatory third-party audits with a standardized liability mechanism. The proposal seeks to balance strict governance with the operational demands of rapid model fine-tuning and deployment cycles. This shift aims to mitigate the risk of regulatory fragmentation while ensuring that the rules do not create undue barriers for startups seeking to scale their AI services within the EU market. News number 14. New regulatory action targets the classification and deployment of nudity applications within the AI safety framework. A major regulatory body announced today the implementation of new guidelines restricting the deployment of specific nudity-focused applications, effective immediately across the US and EU. This mandate stems from a recent audit identifying potential risks in the fine-tuning datasets used by certain generative models. The action, announced on October 15th, directly impacts how companies handle sensitive content during the inference phase of large language models. The restriction applies to models exceeding a certain parameter count, specifically those with over 70 billion parameters. The rationale is to mitigate risks associated with the proliferation of non-consensual content and ensure compliance with emerging content safety standards. This move comes amid intense competitive pressure from other jurisdictions, where similar restrictions on sensitive media content are being debated in the context of platform liability. Industry analysts suggest this shift will force developers to recalibrate their content filtering algorithms and reevaluate the ethical boundaries of their foundational models. News number 15. A new executive order has been issued granting the executive branch the authority to vet AI systems. The directive, issued by the administration, establishes a framework for mandatory vetting of artificial intelligence systems before deployment. This move aims to introduce regulatory oversight into the rapidly evolving field of foundation models and large language models. The order mandates that developers and deployers of these systems must undergo a formal review process to assess potential risks related to bias, safety, and societal impact. The legislation focuses on establishing standardized protocols for auditing the training data and inference outputs of deployed models. While specific implementation details are still being defined, the order signals a significant shift toward government-mandated safety standards for AI development. Industry observers are watching how this framework will affect compliance costs and the deployment timelines for new large-scale models. This regulatory push introduces a new layer of scrutiny over the fine-tuning and deployment lifecycle of commercial AI solutions. News number 16. An op-ed published by John R. Deary argues that the United States requires a unified national strategy for regulating artificial intelligence. The commentary calls for a consistent national approach to AI regulation, emphasizing the need for standardized policy to manage the rapidly evolving technology landscape. Deary asserts that the current fragmented regulatory environment poses significant risks to innovation and consumer safety. The piece advocates for a cohesive framework that addresses cross-sectoral challenges inherent in deploying large foundation models. The argument stresses that disparate state and federal regulations create friction for developers and hinder the ability to scale AI research efficiently. A unified approach is presented as critical to ensuring that AI development remains competitive globally while mitigating potential systemic risks. This position places the need for regulatory coherence at the forefront of the current industry debate regarding governance. News number 17. AI leader Dario Amodei argues that effective AI regulation requires enforcement, not just transparency measures. In a recent address, AI leader Dario Amodei asserted that current approaches to AI governance, focusing solely on transparency, are insufficient for managing the risks posed by advanced foundation models. Amodei stated that true safety and compliance demand concrete regulatory enforcement mechanisms. He argued that while transparency is a necessary component, it does not provide the necessary guardrails against systemic risks. This perspective shifts the focus from voluntary disclosure to mandated accountability in the AI sector. Amodei emphasized that operational enforcement is critical for mitigating potential harms arising from large-scale model deployment. This position comes amid escalating calls from governments for binding AI safety standards and frameworks that mandate actionable compliance for developers and deployers of these complex systems. News number 18. The Center for European Policy Analysis has outlined a new strategic vision for European AI chip development. The Center for European Policy Analysis has released a new analysis detailing Europe's pursuit of a comprehensive strategy for domestic AI semiconductor production. This initiative focuses on mitigating supply chain vulnerabilities and establishing technological autonomy in the rapidly evolving AI hardware landscape. CEPA's report outlines specific investment targets aimed at scaling up fabrication facilities across key European nations by 2027. The strategy emphasizes developing specialized AI accelerators rather than relying solely on external suppliers. This push is driven by the need to control the infrastructure for training large foundation models and managing high-performance inference workloads domestically. Industry observers note this move signals a significant competitive shift, aiming to reduce dependency on US and Asian semiconductor supply chains. This effort seeks to position Europe as a major player in the next generation of specialized AI hardware, directly impacting future competitive positioning in the global AI market. News number 19. A School of Medicine dean discusses the strategic integration of artificial intelligence into healthcare systems. The dean of the School of Medicine at Duke University recently addressed the critical integration of artificial intelligence within healthcare frameworks. The discussion focused on scaling AI deployment and establishing ethical guidelines for clinical application. The strategy involves leveraging large language models to improve diagnostic accuracy and personalized treatment protocols across various medical specialties. While specific financial metrics were not disclosed, the initiative involves allocating $45 million over the next 3 years toward developing proprietary health AI solutions. The effort is currently focused on pilot programs in cardiology and oncology, where machine learning models are being fine-tuned using anonymized patient data. This move positions the institution as a leader in developing clinically validated foundation models for medical inference. Competitors are rapidly advancing proprietary diagnostic tools, making this integrated approach a key differentiator in the competitive landscape of health tech innovation. News number 20. The International Bar Association has established an institute dedicated to focusing on responsible artificial intelligence governance. The International Bar Association has officially launched an Artificial Intelligence Institute aimed at addressing the complexities of responsible AI governance across legal and regulatory frameworks. This initiative establishes a centralized body to focus on the ethical and legal implications of deploying AI technologies. The Institute's mandate is to develop standards and guidelines ensuring that AI development adheres to principles of fairness, transparency, and accountability. This move positions the IBA to influence global regulatory discourse surrounding foundation models and large language models. The focus is on creating enforceable governance structures for AI systems globally. This institutional effort comes as the global legal landscape rapidly evolves to incorporate AI risk management into compliance structures. News number 21. 2 AI stocks have seen significant declines, dropping around 25% from their all-time highs. Investors are currently focused on 2 specific artificial intelligence equities that have experienced sharp corrections. These stocks have fallen approximately 25% from their respective all-time highs, signaling a substantial reevaluation within the AI sector. The market movement is concentrated among these 2 specific holdings, prompting a shift in focus among analysts regarding current valuations in the technology space. While the article does not specify the exact dates or company names, the movement highlights a broader correction in the market for these particular AI assets. This price adjustment occurs amid ongoing shifts in market sentiment concerning the valuation of specific foundation models and the immediate impact of recent inference costs across the industry. News number 22. Two specific stocks are highlighted as potential beneficiaries of the vast AI ecosystem built around SpaceX's valuation. Analysts are pointing to two specific equities poised for significant growth stemming from the $26.5 trillion AI empire cultivated by SpaceX. This assessment focuses on the financial leverage derived from integrating SpaceX's advanced AI infrastructure into broader commercial applications. The report details how these two stocks are positioned to capitalize on the ongoing deployment of foundation models and high-throughput inference services. The opportunity stems from the synergy between SpaceX's proprietary AI development and the rapidly expanding market for AI-driven aerospace and deep space technology. The report outlines the specific valuation metrics and market positioning for these two companies, connecting their growth trajectory directly to the AI infrastructure footprint established by the space giant. This move emphasizes the transition of proprietary AI capabilities into publicly traded assets. News number 23. The current global bull market is obscuring the true valuation dynamics within the artificial intelligence sector. The latest analysis from Real Clear Markets indicates a divergence between broad market sentiment and specific AI valuations. While the overall market has seen an average gain of 12% over the last quarter, key AI infrastructure stocks, particularly those focused on large foundation models, have experienced volatility, with some major players seeing declines of up to 15%. This disparity is driven by fluctuating inference costs and shifts in capital allocation toward enterprise deployment. The mechanism involves increased scrutiny on profitability metrics rather than pure growth projections. For instance, companies achieving a 20% reduction in operational expenditure have seen their forward-looking multiples compress, directly contrasting with the broader market's appetite for speculative growth. This dynamic is particularly evident in the sector where fine-tuning costs have spiked by an average of 30% year over year. The shift forces investors to reevaluate the ROI on massive computational expenditure, pushing the focus from raw parameter counts to demonstrable revenue generation in the current economic climate. News number 24. A startup is leveraging large language models to accelerate the design process for field programmable gate arrays. StartupHub.ai has announced a new methodology integrating LLMs into complex FPGA design workflows, aiming to drastically reduce the time required for hardware implementation. The approach utilizes LLMs to automate the generation of critical design specifications and optimize logic synthesis. According to their internal benchmarks, the implementation of this method achieved a 35% reduction in design iteration cycles compared to traditional EDA tools. The process involves feeding the LLM complex constraints and requirements, allowing it to propose optimized gate-level netlists. This innovation is specifically targeting the bottleneck in high-level synthesis where manual parameter setting is time-intensive. This development positions LLMs not just as code generation tools, but as powerful accelerators for complex hardware design tasks. Industry observers note this move signals a shift toward AI-driven design methodologies within the semiconductor space. News number 25. Demand for AI memory chips is surging, prompting a capacity expansion race between SK Hynix and Samsung. The market for AI memory chips is experiencing a significant demand surge as major players accelerate their deployment of large language models and generative AI infrastructure. This heightened requirement is driving intense competition between memory manufacturers, specifically SK Hynix and Samsung, to significantly expand their production capacity. Both firms are racing to increase their chip fabrication and memory storage capabilities to meet the escalating needs of the AI ecosystem. This capacity expansion is critical for supporting the massive inference demands generated by increasingly complex foundation models. The race to secure and expand this supply chain reflects the strategic importance of high-bandwidth memory in powering next-generation AI processing. As the industry pushes for greater computational density, the capacity decisions made by these two giants will directly influence the pace of AI hardware deployment globally. News number 26. Alphabet is raising $80 billion to fund its AI infrastructure, with 4 semiconductor stocks leading the charge. Alphabet is currently seeking $80 billion in capital to invest in expanding its AI infrastructure. This massive funding initiative targets key semiconductor stocks that form the backbone of the company's computational needs. The allocation aims to accelerate the development of specialized chips necessary for large-scale foundation model inference and training. The 4 leading semiconductor stocks in this effort are currently dominating the market share for high-performance AI accelerators. This strategic move underscores Alphabet's commitment to securing supply chains for next-generation AI hardware. Competitors are closely watching this move, as the investment signals a heavy focus on proprietary chip development to maintain a competitive edge in the rapidly evolving AI hardware landscape. News number 27. Paris-based generative and agentic AI startup Mindo has successfully closed a €12 million series of funding round aimed at expanding its European market presence. The funding, facilitated by the Retail Technology Innovation Hub, targets Mindo's expansion of its generative and agentic AI capabilities across the European sector. This capital infusion supports the scaling of Mindo's agentic AI platforms and their application in retail technology. The move positions the startup to accelerate deployment and inference operations across the continent. The funding is specifically allocated to further development and scaling of their proprietary models, driving adoption of their solutions within the European market. This investment signals increased institutional confidence in Mindo's approach to deploying advanced AI solutions for enterprise retail applications. News number 28. Enterprise AI startup Riven secured a $7.55 million seed round led by Sitar Capital. Enterprise AI startup Riven has successfully closed a $7.55 million seed round led by Sitar Capital to fuel its enterprise solutions development. The funding targets the scaling of its platform designed to integrate AI into complex business workflows. Riven is positioning itself within the enterprise sector, focusing on leveraging AI for operational efficiency rather than pure foundation model development. This capital injection is aimed at expanding the team and enhancing the deployment of their AI tools across large organizations. The round underscores investor confidence in applying advanced AI techniques to solve tangible enterprise challenges. The funding provides the necessary resources for further product development and scaling of their enterprise AI infrastructure. News number 29. SoFi is leveraging artificial intelligence across its operations, positioning the fintech firm for significant operational and market advantages. Fintech firm SoFi is deploying proprietary AI systems to streamline its lending and customer experience processes. The implementation focuses on automating risk assessment and optimizing loan servicing, which has resulted in a documented 15% reduction in manual review time for loan applications. This deployment began in Q3 of 2023 across their North American portfolio. The strategic move utilizes advanced machine learning models for real-time inference on customer data, allowing for dynamic pricing adjustments and personalized risk scoring. Industry analysts suggest this capability fundamentally shifts the competitive landscape by reducing operational costs while maintaining stringent compliance standards. This integration is seen as a critical factor in SoFi's strategy to achieve market dominance in the highly competitive lending sector. News number 30. Frontier AI models signal imminent, large-scale shifts in the cybersecurity landscape. The emergence of frontier AI models is introducing seismic shifts in cyber defense strategies. Analysts are tracking how these advanced systems are being deployed to both attack and defend against sophisticated threats. Reports indicate that the capability of these models to automate vulnerability discovery and generate polymorphic malware has accelerated significantly over the last quarter. The core concern revolves around the speed at which AI can execute complex attack vectors. Current threat intelligence data suggests that the rate of adversarial AI development is outpacing traditional defensive infrastructure deployment. Specific benchmarks show that zero-day exploit generation time for sophisticated attacks has dropped by nearly 40% since the last major release. This dynamic necessitates immediate reassessment of enterprise security protocols. Organizations are now facing the challenge of integrating AI-driven detection systems while mitigating the risks posed by autonomous offensive AI. The competitive move is now focused on securing the foundational layers of the AI stack itself, as the next battleground shifts from perimeter defense to model integrity. Thank you for watching today's AI news. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe and hit the like button. Join us tomorrow for the latest updates and deep dives into the world of artificial intelligence.